Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared sharp betting information.
Welcome back to podcast 92 of 2025. I'm your host, Kiev. You can follow me on Twitter at OBKiev. Follow the Odds Breakers. Follow us on social media / the Odds Breakers. This episode is being brought to you by FanDuel Sports, a proud partner with the NFL. If you'd like to support the Odds Breakers and benefit from our premium plays, please visit theoddsbreakers.com, click shop, and become a member. Pick any. If winning cappers get the premium plays before the line moves, you can also support us on patreon.com. If nothing else, please visit the Odds Breakers and become a free Picks and Telegram subscriber. Another week in the books, my friends. Well, minus Monday Night Football. It was kind of anticlimactic for college. No massive upsets. Couple were close, not massive. Indiana was a close one against Penn State. What an amazing game that was. What a exciting finish to an early game. That was very keyed in on that game. Myself, some of my bets didn't go so well. TCU lost outright to Iowa State. That was mind-blowing coming off the bye. And Arizona didn't cover against Kansas, but lost by a half point or so. It was kind of tough for line value. I had great line value on Oregon as well, and a few others and lost. And college football was down a little bit. Thank God college basketball has been up, and UFC went 3-0. So I had a profitable weekend as far as that's concerned. But, Alabama, Georgia, hard to bet against those teams. They took care of business. Now, depends upon what number you got with Bama. I didn't get the 11.5 with LSU. I got the 10.5 and just wasn't enough as they lost by 11. So that was frustrating, although I did have the 7.5 with Auburn, and they lost by a touchdown because of rough overtime. They just couldn't match Vanderbilt's score, and too bad Auburn didn't go first because then Vanderbilt would win by 6 or 3. So that's how tough it is when it comes to this college overtimes. I do like college overtimes better than the NFL's. The NFL's is kind of boring, and it really leads to a tie a lot in the NFL's. A lot of people hate college overtime, but what else are you going to do? You can pick apart a problem with everything. And I just feel like college at least is a little bit more exciting. You can get the 2-point conversions where it really doesn't blow your spread. As a matter of fact, I think all college overtimes should be 2-point conversions because that way you're usually not having that much of effect on a dog unless you're taking a dog +2 or +1.5. Normally you take a dog +3, plus bigger dog than that, so it's not such a bad beat from a betting perspective. That's kind of the way I feel about it. NFL, you never know what's going to happen. You can win by 7. Obviously, pick 6 screws things up even more, right? But NFL at least gives both chances to score this year, but it's too short with 10 minutes. And if you say it's too short, then the game could go on forever too. So not a perfect situation in any of these overtimes. But, the usual suspects are all still on top. The Indianas, the Oregon barely won, and Ohio State, for the Big Ten, and you still got Bama and Georgia, and obviously Texas A&M takes care of business easily. That was an easy 5.5 we laid, closed about 7.5. Virginia lost their quarterback, and they lost their game, so they're now finally got an ACC loss. So I thought that was interesting. Louisville, don't know what the hell you guys are thinking, losing at home to Cal. I guess that was one of the bigger upsets of the week. There's a few of them, though, because I think that the Oregon State one might have been worse. We'll get to that in our next segment. But made some early bets as usual, and already have some line value because that's how we roll. Our Wisconsin upset went through, so I was happy about that with the money line sprinkle that we always put on our dogs that are +3 and greater.
Sprinkle that shit.
NFL's the NFL. You get a lot of strange things happening. You got the Bills beating the Chiefs, and then all of a sudden, they go to Miami and lose outright. lose outright. You go from beating the Chiefs to losing to the Miami Dolphins. I mean, that's absolutely insane how that works, mind-blowing how you can do that, Buffalo. Lots of weirdness out there in the NFL. Seattle looking like a juggernaut. A lot of people have them as their best team. I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit on that. I think we'll find out a little bit more about the Seattle Seahawks this week against the Rams, but I'm just not so sold on that quarterback, Not so sold on Sam Darnold. He's doing a great job like he did last year. Good coaching over there with McDonald. He's been very impressive this year, but I'm just not ready to crown them. Not ready to crown their asses. Colts get lucky in overtime. Get the game 2 overtime, but you're losing, and then you win by 6. That was like a covering or tying spread for a lot of people. That thing opened at 6, and it was kind of sitting at 6 for a little while and back and forth. And there was 6.5s obviously at the end, but that was interesting. The Bears, looks like you're going to lose all game. Then you outscore the Giants 14-3 in the fourth quarter. You end up winning by 4 points. Bears are just the cardiac animals. Cardiac can't be cats because they're bears. Cardiac cubs. I don't know what to say about the Bears, but they just keep coming back at the end and win. Caleb Williams and the rest of the team looks like crap most of the game. And I'll give Caleb Williams some slack. DeAndre Swift missed a 4th down pass in his hands. Zacchaeus dropped like multiple passes. What the hell is that? Caleb wasn't that bad, I'll tell you who was bad is the coach, Dayball. He got Dart hurt, just like we predicted. I mean, Dart's over there just running the ball, taking smashes and hits, and that's how they get the yards. It's Jackson Dart running the ball. It finally caught up to him. But maybe that's why Dayball was fired, because he's got his rookie hurt, Then again, they wouldn't be as good as if he didn't run so much, because it's hard to defend a quarterback like that. You have to be all over the field. So that was a little weird. Ravens, Vikings, that was just massive, pathetic, very pathetic game. 13 penalties on the Vikings, almost none on the Ravens. Shocking NFL. Jets, Browns, that thing went over the total just based upon special teams. Holy cow, was that bad. A few I got right was the Tampa Bay Bucks losing to the Patriots. I had the Patriots there. It was kind of funny. Patriots scored 7 in each quarter. 7, 7, 7, 7. The Bucks went 7, 3, 6, 7. 6, 7. Saints, Panthers. That screwed me in my last Survivor that was worth a damn that I was in. I cannot believe the Panthers dropped it to the Saints. And I guess the Saints were in such a great spot. Before the bye, just home run. Let's just get a win. And the Panthers feeling a little too good about themselves, but they're by the last few weeks being the Packers and all that. And they completely shit their pants at home and turned back into the Panthers. I guess somewhat predictable, but I actually thought they were on the up and up. I was pivoting on them, and I picked the wrong week to do that. I swapped them out of the contest with the Bears, so I would have lost anyway in the contest. I went 3-2 in the circa. It's not too bad, I guess. I was ranked in the 300s last week. Let's see where we are this week. Jaguars versus Texans. That was the biggest comeback I've seen in a year or two. It's been a while, but the Washington Commanders had a massive comeback. I think it was them recently. Cardinals versus Seahawks. Like I said, massive blowouts. As a matter of fact, all afternoon games were complete blowouts. Ironically, 2 of the teams scored 44 points, the Lions and the Seahawks, and the Rams scored 42 at the 49ers. Funny, 2 of these were away games, too. The Rams at the Niners and the Lions at the Commanders. So I found that interesting. And then the Chargers bring home the bacon against Aaron Rodgers and the Fighting Mike Tomlins. The good, the bad, and the ugly from the weekend. Starting with the good, James Madison surviving that game against Marshall. And guess what? Now with that Memphis loss, woo! They're probably in the driver's seat to make the college football playoffs. No more hiccups, all right? Indiana, toe tap touchdown. Oh, my God, that was amazing. Just got his foot. That's a winning team right there. They changed their culture in Indiana. That's what winning teams do, you know? What an amazing touchdown. I am going for Indiana this year. How do you not? Love the underdog type team and how good they are. They deserve to be where they're at right under Ohio State. Man, that's going to be a fun Big Ten championship game. Badgers finally get the Big Ten win. And that was against Washington. And it took a rainy, windy, slushy, sleety day. As a matter of fact, the whole Midwest was full of slush and sleet and rain. And it was pretty cold to looked pretty cold to be outside from my 80-degree pool. Virginia lost to Wake Forest. And man, that was good because we knew Virginia was frauds. BYU lost to Texas Tech, and that's one I wish I would have bet as Texas Tech. It just got a little past my numbers, but not no more. Not after I adjusted them. Texas A&M, man, they're good. They're best in the SEC. I have Texas A&M as the best team in the SEC if you have equal officiating. Hawaii, oh man, they took care of business at home. Awesome in the rain. Saw it. Our guest, Matt Humans, took a picture out there. Man, Matt just flies up there for a game. How cool. How cool does he live a life, man? Just does whatever he wants, gets to go to these games. That's freaking awesome for Matt. And Seattle Seahawks, of course, makes the good. They're fantastic. Bears, fourth quarters, just crazy wins, unexplainable. I mean, it's all mostly against crappy teams, but now they have an opportunity to get that revenge in Minneapolis. In Minneapolis, Minnesota Vikings, they're a much better team than their numbers show. I think they're more like a 6-4, maybe 5-4 type team, whatever. I think that they're better than their numbers show, and I just think that Carson Wentz made it all look bad. Now for the bad, we'll start with Thursday Night Football. Sean Payton's play calling, just constantly throwing the ball in the wind with Bo Nix. How stupid was that? They barely got through, and a lot of people hit their survivors, and that was a dicey survivor play too. But man, they might have, they should have lost that game almost the way that was called. I thought Sean Payton did a terrible job. Iowa football's 2-point conversions. They just can't make a 2-point conversion. This team all year just can't make a 2-point conversion, can you? You just can't. Oregon's field goal would have tied it then. If you just made a damn 2-point conversion. Get your heads out of your asses. Go practice it. Duke losing to UConn was pathetic. Jesus Christ, Duke. You got gifted by the refs to beat Clemson, and you just couldn't even prove that it was legit by beating UConn, you losers. Florida State on the road. Why do they suck on the road? Fade them every time on the road. Chandler Morris's injury. That's sad for Virginia. Coach fired angles sucked. LSU doesn't cover the closing line. Auburn doesn't cover the closing line. Those angles absolutely sucked. And Auburn, more of an overtime fault for that. And the fact that you choke. The Bears defense and Dennis fucking Allen, they're terrible. They are absolutely terrible. Dennis Allen, no wonder you got fired from New Orleans. You don't know what you're doing over there. It was all Sean Payton. So now you just in name only look like you're good, but you're not. And the Bears drop passes was pretty bad, but hey, they won the game. Falcons choke. Man, did they give that choke up to the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor ran all over you boys. The afternoon blowouts games were bad, and Aaron Rodgers at night was absolutely terrible. Now for the ugly, Auburn's choke and overtime beat. I said that already, kind of. TCU losing off the bye. Oh my God, TCU. What the hell was that? Louisville losing as an 18-point favorite at home. That's a Cal. Oh God, I said buy low on Louisville about 2 weeks ago. Jeez, did I look bad there. Come on, Louisville. Come on, Jeff Brom. Garrett Nussmeier being benched for Van Buren. I'll tell you this, Van Buren played better. He looked good out there. Now there's a few procedure penalties and things, for a young kid quarterback to endure, but this is the future is Van Buren. I liked what he did a lot. And their new coach is going to like him too. Oregon State losing by 20.5 point favorite at home was absolutely ridiculous. And obviously, it wasn't to anybody. It was to Sam Houston State.
You're fired.
Jackson Dart's injuries were ugly. Man, just getting beat up. He's going to miss next week now. Now, what are you going to do? The coach fired angle? Because that goes right into my Brian Dayball being fired. Are we going to bet on him because of the coach fired angle? Blind bet him like Dave Koken used to do? Shut your eyes and bet it? Frickin' Russell Wilson against the Packers? Oh, man, that's not going to be easy to do. You might have to, though. Just wait till that line goes up some. Bills losing to the Dolphins was absolutely ugly. And then the ugliest thing of the entire weekend was the Jacksonville Jaguars losing after being up 19 points in the fourth quarter.
But if you miss, you had better miss very well.
Now it's time for a little college football. Week 11 misleading final scores. Kent State outgained Ball State 301 to 238. It lost 17 to 13. A 1-0 turnover ratio and bad red zone got the Golden Flashes. Marshall outgained James Madison 414 to 409, yet lost 35 to 23. They won the turnover battle 1-0, but poor red zone and poor special teams got the herd. Liberty outgained Missouri State 398 to 332, yet lost 21 to 17. Man, they couldn't score at the second half of the game. A 2-1 turnover ratio extinguished the Flames. UAB outgained Rice 315 to 232, yet lost 24 to 17. They won the turnover battle 0-1, but 5 sacks and 11 penalties blazed the Blazers. TCU outgained Iowa State, and this was a massive lopsided one. What the hell? 432 to 272, yet you lose 20 to 17. You're up 17 to 7, you pricks. A 3-2 turnover ratio, poor special teams, and bad quarterback play got the Horned Frogs off the bye. Jesus. Kansas outgained Arizona 369 to 323, yet lost 24 to 20. Equal turnovers at 0, but poor red zone efficiency got the Jayhawks. Oregon outgained Iowa 373 to 239, yet only won 18 to 16. They won the turnover battle 1-2, but poor third down efficiency and special teams got the Ducks. Rough weather too. Auburn outgained Vandy 563 to 544, yet lost 45 to 38. Overtime and 12 penalties got the Tigers. Stanford outgained North Carolina 320 to 253, yet lost 20 to 15. A 2-1 turnover ratio got the Cardinal. Texas State outgained Louisiana 528 to 384, yet lost 42 to 39. Equal turnovers at 2, but the worst red zone defense in history got the Bobcats. San Jose State outgained Air Force 435 to 302, yet lost 26 to 16. A bad 3-0 turnover ratio got Sparty Jr. Virginia outgained Wake Forest 327 to 203. Another big one. Lost 16 to 9. Quarterback injury and terrible red zone got the Wahoos. And Washington outgained Wisconsin 251 to 205, yet lost 13 to 10. A 2-0 turnover ratio. Poor weather really got the Huskies. College football betting spots for Week 12. Letdown spots. Wake Forest could be soft hosting North Carolina after the big Virginia win. North Carolina's improved a little. Ohio could be sluggish after beating Miami, Ohio against Western Michigan. Tulane could forget themselves hosting FAU after beating Memphis. Penn State blew it against Indiana and will be tough to get up at Michigan State, in my opinion. Texas Tech could let down hosting UCF after beating BYU. Maybe some letdown. Sam Houston could let down hosting Delaware after beating Oregon State. Get up spots. Any team trying to make a bowl game at this point. Iowa at USC after almost beating Oregon. Virginia better wake up at Duke after losing their first ACC game. Washington better dust off that Wisconsin loss against Purdue. Navy better get up hosting South Florida after getting blown out against Notre Dame. San Diego State better get up hosting Boise after the Hawaii loss. Look ahead spots. USC looking past Iowa to Oregon. It's very possible. Oregon looking past Minnesota. USC is also there. You can wonder if Iowa and Minnesota will be popular bets this week. Georgia Tech could look past Boston College to Pitt, too. I just want to throw that out there. Short week. Only really one. Kent State with only 6 days rest facing Akron, who had more rest. Long rest. Miami, Ohio with an extra day hosting Toledo. UMass with an extra day at Northern Illinois. Arizona State off the bye hosting West Virginia. Arkansas off the bye at LSU. Boise State off the bye at San Diego State. Cincinnati off the bye hosting Arizona. Georgia Tech off the bye at Boston College. Illinois off the bye hosting Maryland. Michigan State off the bye hosting Penn State. Michigan off the bye at Northwestern. Minnesota off the bye at Oregon. New Mexico off the bye hosting Colorado State. NC State off the bye at Miami. North Texas off the bye at UAB. Oklahoma off the bye at Alabama. Pitt off the bye hosting Notre Dame. Texas off the bye at Georgia. Washington State off the bye hosting Louisiana Tech. And Western Kentucky off the bye hosting Middle Tennessee State. NFL Week 10 misleading final scores. The Giants outgained the Bears 431 to 391, yet lost 24 to 20. A 1-0 turnover ratio, 10 penalties, quarterback injury, and poor coaching. Got the G-men. The Browns outgained the Jets 278 to 169, yet lost 27 to 20. They won the turnover battle 1-0, but just terrible coaching and horrible special teams, allowing 2 kickoff returns. Got the Brownies. The Vikings outgained the Ravens 365 to 321, yet lost 27 to 19. A 3-0 turnover ratio, one-sided officiating. Got the Queens. The Bills outgained the Dolphins 376 to 370, yet lost 30 to 13. A 3-2 turnover ratio, 3 sacks, and poor red zone defense. Got the Bills. Quarterback was just not good either. Come on, Josh Allen. That brings us to NFL Week 11 betting spots, letdown spots. The Dolphins could be asleep hosting the Commanders after the big Bills win. The Texans could slow up at the Titans after a big comeback against the Jags. And the Lions could be slower at the Eagles after their playoff revenge at the Commanders. Get up spots. The Steelers better wake up hosting the Bengals. Well, the only singled out one that I have, but look ahead spots. The Texans could look past the Titans to the Bills. So the Texans are in a sandwich spot right now. Short week. Packers after Monday night at the Giants. The Eagles after Monday night hosting the Lions. Long week. The Cowboys after the bye at the Raiders. The Bengals after the bye at the Steelers. The Chiefs after the bye at the Broncos. And the Titans after the bye hosting the Texans. At least for the Broncos and the Raiders, they had the Thursday game. So a little bit better situation for them. Only maybe a net negative 3 or 4 days rest compared to the Cowboys and the Chiefs. That brings us to our college football Week 12 free play. Oh, I got to check the lines, make sure it's still there. I made 4 plays, premium plays so far. This one's within reason. Duke -6 hosting Virginia. Don't really love betting this, but Duke is in a spot now after being embarrassed against UConn. They're still going to try to win the ACC. That UConn game's not an ACC game. Virginia probably without their quarterback, and once that gets announced, it's going to be 7.5. I believe this line's going to move. I think now is the time to grab Duke. Benz is a good quarterback. Just spotty. I'm just going to continue fading Virginia right now until the cows come home, until they get priced right in the marketplace. So there you have it. I like this play for 2 stars.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
All right, now it's time for a little fantasy football with our guy, D Nasty. It's time for some fantasy football. D Nasty's back, Dave. Watching this Monday Night Football game, freaking awful for fantasy. Awful, my friend. 0-0. It's the third quarter, 90 minutes left. This ain't cool. I need some points out of these guys.
No, just brutal to watch, too, man. Joe Buck and Aikman are like, this is a great defensive battle to watch. I'm like, no, it's not. I want to see some touchdowns and some scoring. I don't want to see defensive battle.
No doubt.
Joe Buck.
Oh, I can't stand those guys. And I need 15 more.
I know.
I need 15 more points from Saquon and Goddard. I'm not even sure if I'm going to get it the way this game's going. They just finally kicked the field goal and missed it. Oh, they made it. But geez, man, 3-0. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a horrible game.
Horrible for fantasy. And here we are. It is fantasy football week 11 now. Here we are, just kind of
Week
chugging
11,
along,
yes.
flying through. And Dave, why don't you start with our bye weeks?
All right, yeah. Final push for those playoff spots. The next couple weeks here are going to be key. Only 2 buys this week, so it's a light week for buys, actually. Only 2 buys are the Colts, actually. For the Colts, you're going to want to get Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes actually been playing really well this year. Tyler Warren, Alex Pierce, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs. Quite a few guys. Jonathan Taylor, probably the MVP right now.
Oh,
He had
yeah.
a huge game this past week. He's a beast. He's finally back healthy and playing well, man. That line is looking good against the
Best back in
Colts.
football, clearly. Best back in
Yes,
football.
he's great. So, yep, unfortunately, you're not going to have all of them this week. The Saints, Tyler Shogg, who actually looked pretty good the last couple games, especially this game, he actually looked really good. Showed some promise, actually, but you're going to bench him. Alvin Kamara actually had a decent game this week. You're going to get him out on your bench. Chris Olave, who looked good with the rookie quarterback. And then Juwan Johnson. Other than that, there's not many people that are probably very fantasy relevant for the Saints. But yeah, definitely the Colts team is actually, there's a lot of fantasy guys on that team that you have to go to your lineup this week. So that's going to hurt some people this week.
Speaking of hurt, let's get into key injuries. Zay Jones had an Achilles injury for the Cardinals, and he's questionable for sure, if not worse. Looks like Dalton Kincaid. I saw him go out with that hammy. He was holding it pretty bad. I'm guessing he can miss a week. That probably going to happen. Those Bills just looking awfully sus lately. Tight end Orlando Gadsden went out, and he was a balling for a while, but just went out against the Steelers. Not that the Steelers did anything for fantasy last night either. These night games have been brutal.
Horrible.
Devontae Adams went out for the Rams with an oblique injury. We'll see what happens with him. Maybe you know more. Jackson Dart concussed. He'll miss a week at least. They're not going to throw him and rush him back in. He's their franchise quarterback now. Chris Rodriguez, running back, went out with a shoulder injury for Washington. I'm sure they really don't care anymore. Geno Smith went out with a quad injury against the Broncos. He could play. Running back Ramondre Stevenson missed against the Bucs with a kind of a late scratch type thing with a toe injury. I really thought he was going to play, and he didn't, Dave.
So, yeah, a couple other ones too. Bam Knight, ankle injury for the Cardinals. And then the Rhonda Gatson injury was a knee injury. They said it shouldn't be major. They said it's probably pretty minor. So he's probably week to week right now. So he could actually possibly play this week. So keep an eye on that. Like you said, Dart, that's too bad. Giants are the worst luck. Darius Slayton, Slayton was ruled out of that game too. So he left actually with an injury as well. Garrett Wilson re-injured his knee. So he's probably week to week right now too. I wouldn't count on him this week probably though. He only had 3 targets and then he re-injured that knee again. So which is too bad. I had him in quite a few leagues and he was playing really well before the injury. So Brock Purdy, some good injury news. He is going to start this week, they're saying. So they're expecting him to start this week, which is great news. And then Joe Burrow actually started practicing this week. So he opened the 21-day window on him. So another good, some more good news on the injury front as well. And then Kyler Murray actually went on the IR, so he's out for the next 4 weeks. We'll talk about who to pick up from him, even though we did talk about Brissett last week as well. But just want to let you know that for the next 4 weeks, you can count on Brissett starting for the Cardinals.
Right. It's funny. Garrett Wilson, I forgot about that one. Thanks for mentioning that. Kyler Murray, the really weird movement to IR. I just feel like if he was playing better, he would still be out there. It's the way everyone feels out. Brissett played kind of a sus game, not so great, but a little bit better towards the end. They lost that game in the first quarter against the Seahawks, got absolutely smoked. So, that's
well, they start off pretty bad too. Lawrence had the 2 fumble return TDs, so that got him in a hole early. So couldn't really recover from that. But for fantasy purposes, actually, Brissett still had a pretty good day. Over 250 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. So he still put up 20 plus points in most leagues for you, because I have him in some of my dynasty leagues.
Some of that garbage time helped too. So that's how he was able to score.
Definitely.
Why don't you go into the waiver wire?
All right. Well, the guy we're just talking about, Jacoby Brissett. I like him this week, actually. Tua actually had a good game this past week. So if he's still out there, I like him as well. JJ McCarthy actually has a nice matchup this week against Chicago of all teams. But I like that matchup. So if he's still out there, Davis Mills, we talked about last week as well. I'm not going to go too much into them. Russell Wilson, actually, for the Dart injury. If by chance Dart is not able to play this week, but definitely want to scoop up Russell Wilson. Shadir Sanders, actually, speculative ad. Gabriel hasn't done much over the last couple of weeks. He's been solid, if not unspectacular, though. So rumblings are that Shadir is going to get his chance sooner or later, though. So just a speculative ad if you have a bench spot. I definitely like him. Then I like DeMarcado for the Cardinals for the Bam Knight injury. He could start this week.
DeMarcado was better anyway.
Yeah, I think he is actually as well. Oh, and then another injury we forgot too. J.K. Dobbins left with a foot injury too from last Thursday, so forgot to mention that one as well. So R.J. Harvey for him if he's not able to play, and then a couple other ones too. Woody Marks, he's actually taken over that backfield now. Nick Chubb had a season low 10 snaps this week, so if by chance someone did drop Marks, or if he's still available in any of your leagues, scoop him up. He's going to be probably the starter going forward. I was really high on him a couple weeks ago, and then he kind of faded, but then he had a good week this past week again. So definitely, if he's out there, scoop him up right away. Sean Tucker, actually, he outsnapped and outplayed Rashad White this past week, and he's probably going to be he had over the last 2 games 21 carries for 95 yards compared to 23 carries for 73 yards for White. So I think he's kind of taking over that backfield while Irving's out. So keep an eye on that if Irving's back or not this week. Hopefully he is back. Tracy actually led the backfield for the Giants this past week. He outsnapped Singletary and out-carried him yards-wise and carries. So he kind of jumped back into the league like I thought last week. So keep an eye on him. Algier had 2 TDs this week, but he's just a high-end handcuff. So other than that, though. And then Jacoby Myers actually had a good game with his new team. And then Parker Washington actually looked really good this past week with the Brian Thomas injury. He didn't play again this week either with the ankle injury. Jerry Jeudy actually had a nice game. He actually had a touchdown from Gabriel this week. And Jaden Higgins has actually looked pretty good for the Houston Texans as well.
All right, Jaden Higgins. Mac Hollins went off last week too, and I did mention to pick him up.
Jalen Naylor too. Forgot about Jalen Naylor.
Jalen Naylor, I have him for the Vikings on my waiver wire, so thanks for bringing that up. Tez Johnson did really well for the Buccaneers. Jerry Jeudy, like you said, 12 targets. Jordan Whittingham for the Devontae Adams injury should be a pickup. Dawson Knox for the Dalton Kincaid hammy injury is big. Jeremy McNichols for the Chris Rodriguez injury. He'll get some good cleanup duty behind Jacory. I agree with Shedeur Sanders. Aiden O'Connell for the Geno Smith injury because Geno might – I don't know. He's playing. He's not playing well. Maybe Aiden plays more. And Geno could miss this week, and Aiden's been – back practicing for the last couple of weeks anyway, so he's ready to come off IR.
Yeah, I like Aiden O'Connell pickup too. That's speculative ad for him too. I like that one.
Absolutely. And if you're really desperate, I guess Russell Wilson. But man, it's not going to be pretty.
He did not look good.
No, he did not.
I used to like Russell Wilson. He's a Badger, so
I know.
I got love for him.
He's too slow
he did
now.
not look good.
And the only reason the Giants were moving the balls because Jackson Dart was running. That's the only reason, and that's why he got beat up and concussed, too. It was bound to happen. Sleepers, non-starters.
Yeah, he took a hard fall on one of the tackles, and he hit his head on the turf.
I know. It is. And then they fired Tony Dayball today, or Brian Dayball, I should say. And that was a must fire, in my opinion. It was weird. It's like, why didn't you fire him a long time ago? But the fact is, the more I thought, at first I was like, they're kind of like doing better now, and you're firing the coach. But then I kind of realized, dude, all you're doing is just throwing your quarterback into like injury situations the last 3 weeks. That's all he's been doing, and since Jackson Dart's really been starting actually. So sleepers, non-stars training up for week 11, wide receiver Mac Hollins should crush the Jets. So I put that down because that's what the Patriots are playing. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa against the Commies. I like that one this week. And Malik Washington too, to go with Tua as a receiver. Quarterback J.J. McCarthy against the Bears D might slap. I think that the Bears D is really suspect against the pass, and you saw some of that last week and the weeks before. Wide receiver Jalen Naylor against the Bears too. Tight end Dawson Knox against the Bucks. That's a solid pickup and move this week. Running back Amari DeMarcado against the 49ers. It's a really banged up Niners defense. There's no Warren in the middle. It's just they're done, man. You saw the Rams just chop them to pieces last week.
Oh yeah,
it was bad and it's ugly. Wide receiver Michael Wilson has become a big pass catcher for Brissett in AZ land. So I do like Michael Wilson a little bit as well. George Pickens against the Raiders. So I would start maybe George Pickens if he's an option for you. Jordan Love against the Giants. I do like Jordan Love this week against the Giants. And I also like Aaron Rodgers against the Bengals. Some, not a lot, but some. So, and I be watching it as soon as Burrow comes back. That whole Bengals offense gets way better. So remember that as well.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you go?
You upgrade. Yeah, all those guys you upgrade for the Bengals as soon as Burrow comes back. Who knows? It might be a couple weeks though. Still, 'cause he just started practicing, but he could be back next week.
Possibly.
We'll
I was going to play the Ravens in Survivor before I went out on Thanksgiving, but now I'm like, man, what if he's back for Thanksgiving week? That's very possible now. The way they made it sound, the way they made it sound was that injury was going to go through December, and that did not happen. So I feel like, I feel like we're kind of BS there for some reason, having a little bit of an internet issue here, but while this thing is buffering, I'm going to get into bus a little bit. So, Dave, there you are. Bus now. Well, actually, why don't you go, since the internet's back, go ahead, give me your sleepers.
Okay, sounds good. I had a lot of the same ones that you did. I like like you said, I like Matt Collins this week. I like Trevion Henderson, too. He's been looking good. He had 2 TDs this past week. I like him against that poor Jets defense. I like the Dolphins this week. They've been playing better and better, actually. I like Tua this week. I like the Malik Washington, like you said. Waddle's been going off now, too. He's actually been playing really well. I like that matchup for them. I like Bryce Young, actually, this week. The Falcons have a pretty good D, but they just find ways to lose the games these last couple weeks. So, but I think Bryce Young actually plays better this week. He was my dynasty sleeper, and he kind of tanked on me this past week, but I'm still going with him again this week. I like him as a guy trending up this week. I think they could play better this week. I do like the Dawson Knox. I think he has a good game actually for the Bills, especially if Kincaid is out. I like that matchup. I like Kamon Vidal too against the Jaguars. I like that pick too as well. And then I like JJ McCarthy, like I was saying before, against the Bears. Their pass D is kind of suspect. Going all in on the Packers this week against the Giants. Giants pass D is not good at all. They have a nice pass rush, but their pass D is not good, and their secondary is not good at all. So yeah, definitely Jordan Love, Dobbs. Wicks is back. Hopefully he'll first game back tonight, but hopefully he'll keep trending up the next couple weeks here. I like Jaden Higgins actually for the Texans. He's been actually looking better and better. He's kind of like almost their number 2 there now. Nico Collins finally had a little bounce back game too. Actually, he looked pretty good this past week. Let's see how it's. Yeah, I do like the Ravens this week against the Browns. Browns are. I like Zay Flowers actually. I think he's going to trend. He's been trending up the last couple weeks. He's been playing better and better with Lamar back, so I like him. And then I like that Cowboys matchup too. Like you said, I like Pickens and Florida. I actually had a touchdown before the bye. Actually, he's been kind of trending up as well.
Yeah, I agree. Why don't you move into bus?
All right, bus. I'm going to say the Lions versus the Eagles. I don't like Jared Goff against the Eagles. You can see the defense is balling out against the Packers tonight, and the Packers have a middle of the tier offense, but the Eagles defense has definitely stepped up tonight. So I don't like that matchup for Goff next week. I'm still starting Gibbs, probably borderline on Montgomery. But yeah, Gibbs is a must start still, but Goff, I don't like him this week. Broncos D, one of the top 3 Ds probably in the league. I don't like the Chiefs against them. I don't like the running game, especially against the Broncos. Pachinko or Hunt, I don't like them. Mahomes is still going to get his, but the running game, I'm going to downgrade them. Even Kelsey kind of probably downgrade him a little bit too, because that Broncos D is good. They have good linebackers. I don't like the Seahawks versus the Rams. Both of those guys will probably be a lower game. So I don't like that matchup. The Rams defense is playing well. Actually, the Seahawks defense has been playing really well too, but Stafford's been on fire though, so I can't really downgrade him at all. But I don't like that matchup as well. I don't like Titans. Any of the Titans, you're probably not starting any of them up right now anyways, but the Texans defense, probably top 5 D. Don't like the Titans matchup. Don't like Cam Ward or any of those guys there. Even DK, I don't even like him this week. I like the Steelers against the Bengals, so but I don't like that matchup for the Bengals against the Steelers, though. They've been scoring quite a bit, but the Steelers have been playing better on defense lately, so I'm downgrading Flacco for that one. And then Yeah, that's all I got. And I actually don't like any of the Jets against the Patriots. Patriots have been balling lately, man. They look like one of the top 3 teams in the AFC. So definitely don't like any Jets this week.
I don't know if I downgrade Flacco against the Steelers. He chopped them up last game, and maybe they're coming off the bye, man. Ugh.
They're coming off the bye and they're playing better, though. I don't know. The Steelers have been playing better, but
Well,
yeah,
if Watt gets to him, and that's different. But
Yeah.
people said the same thing last night because the Chargers lost all those offensive linemen. It still didn't matter. You know, they were able to score enough points. It was mostly a defensive win, though, for the Chargers. Bust Kyron Williams. I hate to say it. He's my running back in a lot of leagues, but against the Seahawks, it's just a bad matchup for him. But you might have to play him. I understand, but if there's better options, use him. Quarterback Sam Darnold against the Rams is also kind of rough. I think that Sam Darnold destroys the bad teams and then steps up in competition. He chokes. Bryce Young against the Falcons. I don't even know what to think about Bryce Young. Falcons still have a good team. They have a terrible coach, but if their talent shows up, they're going to mess some stuff up, and they're pissed after that loss in Germany in overtime.
they should have won that game.
They should have won that game, absolutely. J.K. Dobbins against the Chiefs. Don't like that so much either, and even if he's hurt, then you'd have to look at Harvey as a kind of a bust too. Romo Dunze against the Vikings D. I'm not really loving Romo Dunze or Caleb Williams against the Vikings D this week. I think the Vikings are in a big get back up spot too. Running back David Montgomery against the Eagles is kind of suspect, so I don't like David Montgomery. And I don't like Kareem Hunt against the Broncos either. I think that's kind of a bad matchup too. And I'm not even sure if Pacheco's back or not, Dave, but I'm pretty sure that Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, even that's why I said both. I didn't know which one was going to play, so that's why I said both actually. So yeah, Pachenko's questionable actually for this week for sure.
That brings up our nasty sleeper, Dave. I'll go first since you already said it in yours. Travion Henderson is my nasty sleeper this week, and he's going to eat against the Jets, and they're not going to rush Ramondre Stevenson back. Even if Stevenson does come and play, Travion Henderson is going to get the bell cow share of the carries this week, being that he's not injured, and he had such a great game last week, Dave.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going with someone from the Patriots as well. I like Mac Hollins. He's been playing better and better.
Mac.
He's like their number 1. So like he's actually probably the number 2, but he's almost a borderline number 1 actually. He's the number 2 definitely to Diggs, but yeah, go with Mac Hollins. He's my nasty sleeper this week. I like him this week in that matchup against the Jets.
I like him too. He was in my non-starters trending up as well, so I love Mac Hollins' matchup this week, especially with Boutte being so injured and not playing right now. So Mac Hollins, return of the Mac, baby. Let's go, Dave. Anything we missed? All right. Let's go. Fantasy football, my friends. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't yet, please rate, review, and subscribe. Have a great rest of your week, and go get some